Yo, what's up, guys? It's me, Loop here, and today I'm gonna be giving you guys a quick little video series, tutorial, whatever you guys want to call it. But basically, I'm on this journey to get through this whole web development process of mine, as well as blockchain development and all this other programming and coding and life. If you guys want, I have a blogger. You guys can check out my blogger. At the same time, I'll be creating a few more other things if you guys want to check it out. As the video series progresses, there will be more things in the description for you guys to check out and join in. And if you guys are also interested in trying to get a nice web development career or trying to learn how to code and build some cool things now, this is something that I'm starting. I'm kind of like about it. So guys, if you guys have any type of things you want to see me do or any of that, please comment below. I'm trying to create a community here, and we're all trying to do something and get somewhere. So let's do it together, you feel? Anyways, so this is the very first video. I'm basically gonna be showing you guys how to get started and actually progressing through things. And what we're going to be doing is basically getting started with GitHub. So if you guys don't know what GitHub is, it's basically a web developer. I gotta stop that term. It's basically where all the programmers and coders and hackers and modders and corporate people and tech savvy people live, you know? It's like the cool kids club right here. And I'm gonna show you guys how to create a profile. Well, not really step by step. You guys can see I already created my own profile. If you guys want, you guys can add me as a friend. So then right here where it says following, or even for me, this is in beta right now, but basically I can see your guys' projects. You guys can see my projects. And yeah, let's get this party started. What I want for you guys to do is create an account. And once you guys do create an account, basically just add me as a friend. Right here, Coolest Cove Bell. Yep. And what we're going to be doing today is basically I'm going to show you guys how to create this little cool little bio for just yourself. And it's pretty cool. But first things first, I'm going to let you guys know, get yourself Visual Studio Code. Or if you guys want, I know GitHub has their own text editor too. It's pretty decent text editor. I've used it before. This is basically what GitHub created, but I want you guys to get Visual Studio Code, and after that download Git. So once you guys have downloaded it, all you just want to do is open up, and this is how it should look like. You guys can do CD, which changes your directory. Let's change it one more time. And if you guys want, we can do like this. So basically change the directory to your D drive, and boom, now you're in your D drive. And what I want to do is just change. I created my own folder. It's in here. There we go. Now I'm in my folder that I'm going to be using. And what I want you guys to know a little bit too is what Git and GitHub is basically two different things. GitHub is basically where you're able to look through any type of repository, any open source application. Like for instance, if we just search up Netflix, Bugs Writer, he's a really cool YouTuber. You guys should check him out. But basically, you guys can use this tool right here, which is created in a shell script. It says it right here. Basically, Netflix. It's a tool used to search magnet links and stream it with PureFlix. I don't really know what's going on over here, but you guys can really see. This is a documentation. Here are the files. And yeah, this is basically a repo right here. This is what's on GitHub. And what Git is basically this. Basically, is basically an open source distributed version system control system where you can basically save your projects files and push it to your project. So if we clone this, create some new thing, we can push it up to here. It'll create a pull request. You guys can see all these pull requests right here. People are like saying to use Pirate Bay instead, fix things and make file. Basically, they create a pull request, show their change of code, or even create an issue where people are asking for help, like no result found. They create an issue. It's opened right now. He asks, I have this, but it's not working, blah blah blah, and people are trying to fix it. It's a community effort. Ahaha, gang shit, boys and girls. But anyways, the GitHub is basically where your project lives, and Git is basically a little terminal tool that allows you to just like do things a lot more quicker. Anyways, let's continue on with this cool little tutorial. Now we're gonna get through some navigation things through the terminal, because you guys are gonna need to know this. Basically, the command pwd means print working directory, and if you guys can see, this is basically in my D drive. It prints out the path of where you are currently in your directory. If we move back a directory and we do pwd, it's just gonna give me this path. Basically, I'm in this file telling me, because sometimes this won't really be there for you depending on what terminal you use or whatever. Anyways, we want to go back to that folder, and in here you guys can see I already created a web dev folder. I used the command ls, which means list, and it's basically going to list whatever I have in this folder, and in this case I have another folder. If I had a file, it would be something different. What I want you guys to do now is, if you guys can, type in mkdir, which means make directory, and in here, if you guys don't have a web dev folder, just create a folder. Let's call it web development. I don't know if I spelled any of that right. There we go. And now if we do ls, we have a web dev and a web development folder, which is pretty nice if you ask me. And we can always remove that by just, if let's say we first off, let's say we spelt it wrong. We can do mv, which means move. Yes, we're using this command, which will move our file and can also rename files, which is pretty dope. So let's say we want to do it web dev 2. Oh, okay, make sure you spell your stuff correctly. So web development. Oop. Development. And now when we do ls, now we changed from web development to web dev, which is web dev 2, which is pretty nice. And we can always just delete it by typing in rmdir, which means remove directory, and web dev 2. And now when we ls, boom, it's gone. So guys, just create yourself a nice folder and press cd and go into that web development folder, and then just clear your terminal by typing cler. I don't even know if I spelled that correctly. Yeah. And what we are gonna do is create a new folder, and we're gonna call this by our GitHub name. So in this case, my GitHub name is Cool as Cove Bell. So that's what you guys want to do. Make sure you spell it correctly. CLOLI. I mean, this is just, I don't know, I'm spelling out my thing. And boom, we created our cool little folder. Now what we want to do is change into that folder. And if you guys have downloaded Visual Studio Code, which I hope you guys did, all you want to do is type in code dot. And this should open up your code editor, which would be Visual Studio Code. This should open up Visual Studio Code, and just give it a moment. Yes, my computer's a little bit slow. Thank you. Anyways, so once we have this open, yeah, you guys can change the theme of it and do whatever you guys want with it. Let me just move this over here for you guys, because there's also one thing that we need to do on GitHub. Alright, let me just exit out of this. So there's a little thing that we want to do on GitHub first, and it's basically going to be creating our first repo. So you want to go and create yourself a whole new repo, and you want to make sure that you name this as as your profile name. So if your name was Pablo, then you would type in Pablo, and you guys can see that this is a special repository that you can add a readme MD to your GitHub profile to make it public. Whatever, it tells you that it's pretty special. So what we want to do is just create this repo. You guys can create the readme file, click this and create the readme file, but we're gonna do this without it. So we created our repo, and it tells us all of these commands and stuff, and in this case we're just gonna minimize it like that. You know, put it side by side like all the cool kids with one monitors do. And inside our Visual Studio Code, we're just gonna click new file, and or you know what, we're gonna do it the cooler way. We're gonna go into terminal, create a new terminal, and this should launch our terminal project already. And what we want to do is just type in touch, which means basically you're creating a file inside the directory. So when you want to type in touch, you want to also have it followed by a name. So in this case, we want to touch and name this file readme. We can do it all caps, readme. And what we want to do is save it as a MD file, which is markdown, and that's what GitHub follows. So you want to touch that, and boom, look at that, we have our MD file right here. And inside this MD file, we can do a nice little, MD has its own language, markdown is its own language, but we're just gonna keep it a little bit simple. This basically this hashtag represents like a header. So this would make the text really huge. So let's say, hey, what's up, hello. Alright, let's save it. And also what we want to do is, since we've downloaded Git Bash and basically downloaded Git, what we want to do is type in git init inside of our file. And as you guys can see, it has initialized an empty Git repository. So we just created a local Git repository on our computer. And what we want to do then is just type in git add. And when we type in git add dot, that means it's going to add all of our items to a staging area where we can type in git status. And you can see that changes have been committed to this file. There's no commits. So let's make a commit. Git commit. And then we want to flag an M, which means message. And what we want to do is make this our first commit. Alright. Now let's just clear our terminal so it's nice and clean. And we can do git status again. Nothing to commit. We're working with a clean tree. And what we want to do now is create a new branch. Or you know what? You guys can create that, but it's basically following these lines of codes. All we want to do is just press Control C, Control V. Basically going to do everything for us. So it created a branch, main. So now we're on the main branch. We added a remote origin to our GitHub, and which is right here. This is our GitHub file that we just created. or this is our GitHub repo on GitHub, and we just added where we want to save our stuff. And all we're going to do then is just push it to the main. And boom, everything should work. If you guys did come up with some type of errors, then you guys want to make sure that you have set up your SSH keys and just connected your GitHub with your terminal in a way. And I'll have the link in the description where you guys can like read more about it. But basically you would have to generate a new SSH agent, just go through all of this. And if you guys still have trouble and issues, I'll most likely create a whole video for it if you guys want. And if you guys need help, just comment below. I'll try my best to help you guys out. And yeah, once that has set up, once you've been able to push up this project to the repo that you've created on GitHub, let's refresh this. And boom, it's our header right there. Our hashtag created this type of heading. And if we visit our profile, it says, hey, what's up below? And let's add a few more things. So let's just add in, I am a web developer and blockchain developer in training. Let's create a whole new heading. So the more hashtags we add, the smaller the heading will be. So if we think of this as HTML. If we add in 3 hashtags, that's basically H3. So let's do that. Let's do that. And right next to it, say my skills, or what I am currently learning. Alright? And if you guys want to create a list, basically you just add in a little dash, and let's type in HTML, type in CSS, JavaScript. This is basically creating bullet points, a list. Solidity, solidity, and Python. And if we save that, we want to basically go through the same series that we went through to create this file, or not really create it, but once we've created our GitHub and initialized it and pushed it up, all we need to do is, sorry if you guys hear any background noise, is type in git add, or you know what, before we do that, git status. And you guys can see, we see our status right now. There are changes that are not staged for commit, and our branch is up to date, but we've created some changes, and you guys can see that we have started to get some changes. So what we want to do is just add these changes to the staging area. So git add dot. Alright, and you guys can see all these green lines have went away. Do git status, and these are now ready for commit. So it's clear. Do git commit, and let's say we are committing, and what's the message that we're gonna leave? Adding some, or sharing what we are learning. Alright, and then once we're done and satisfied, we do git push. We can do git push origin main, or we can just do git push, and boom, now it's all pushed up. So if we refresh, this is how our readme, this is how our profile looks like now. Pretty cool, right? And of course you guys can look and see what kind of other things, markdown, language. Look at the syntax of what kind of markdown stuff we can do. We can add tables, add pipes. This is how it's gonna look like. Really? That's really cool. But yeah, that's basically it, guys. Hopefully you guys have gotten the gist and are ready to set up. Next video we're going to be doing is talking about JavaScript. So yeah, guys, hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Play around with it. Share with me what you guys have created. And also add me as a friend on GitHub. Hope to see you guys next video. Take it easy, guys. Thanks for watching.